Yeah, what I mean by your state is it's how you feel on a moment by moment basis. So you can be in a state of anger, you can be in a state of sadness, you can be in a state of joy, you can be in a state of gratitude. Your state is important for the simple reason that your happiness is made up of or is affected by your state on a moment by moment basis. So if you are constantly in a state of joy, you're going to feel joy. If you're constantly in a state of sadness, you're going to feel sadness. And the longer that continues, the more those feelings remain, and the more your mood and then your persona and then your personality are impacted by those things. So your state, if you can manage your happiness on a moment by moment basis, then overall, in the long run, you're going to have a huge impact on how you feel and therefore what you can achieve. When we're in whatever state we're in, we often feel so powerless to change it. So if we are feeling sad, we feel so powerless to move ourselves from that state. And when we're feeling joy, it feels like we'll stay in that moment forever. And the example I give to show people how easy it is to change our state and switch from one to another is by giving the example of, I mean, heaven forbid, a bomb going off outside your house or your building or whatever you're in. No matter what you were feeling in that moment before the bomb went off, your state is going to be impacted in an instant by that event occurring. If you are at home and a long lost loved one walks through the door you haven't seen for years, or a family member or whoever it is, and you didn't expect them, your state is going to be impacted in that moment. Now, those two examples are both external. They happened to us. But what I want to help people with is how to manage their state internally, how they can manage it themselves and take control. Because if you can take control of your state, then like I said, you can manage your happiness on a moment by moment basis. And your state is impacted or is made up of three core components. It's what you focus on. So are you focused on, if you're in a state of, let's say, anger, are you focused on who's just slighted you? Are you focused on how you didn't get your own way? Are you focused on how somebody may have disrespected you? Because if you focus on those things, it's going to impact how you feel in that moment. The second thing is the language that you use. And you'll hear it when you're talking to people or when people are talking to you. Are they saying words like, I can't, I wish I could, but that person made me feel this, I don't have that? All of those words in that example are coming from a place of lack. They're coming from a place of scarcity. And if we focus on those things and continue to use those words, then it's going to impact our state. And then the third thing is our physiology. What's our body language? How are we breathing? If you were to ask somebody to give to do an impression of somebody who was depressed, most people do the same thing. They would show somebody with their shoulders slumped forward, with their chest caved in, with their head down, and with short, shallow breathing. But if you were to do an impression of somebody who was in a confident, powerful state, you do the impersonation of someone with their shoulders back, with their chest out, with their head up, and with deep, long breaths. The reason being is because just by standing, and there's lots of science recently, just by standing in that pose for 30 seconds or more, you start to increase the levels of adrenaline and endorphins in your body, which is therefore going to impact your state. So your language, your focus, and your physiology, three things which you can change in seconds, are what is impacted or is what your state is made up of. And if you can take control of those three things, that's how quickly you can change how you feel. My power pose. It's quite a powerful one. Are you ready? Good. But joking aside, I do a power pose in the shower every morning. At the end of my wash, I put the water on cold. I recite my affirmations. I change my physiology. I focus on the thing that I want to achieve or the state that I want to feel, my vision. And I do it every single morning and I anchor it and my state is impacted. The other day, I was in a low state and I knew it. So what did I do? I went for a run around the block. It was only a 7-minute run, but I ran as fast as I could. And you'd not believe it. I made a point of smiling the whole way around. If anybody had seen me, they would have thought I looked like a right dickhead. But the impact it had was massive. because my physiology was I was running, I was moving, what humans are designed to do. Adrenaline was coursing through, and I was smiling, and I was focusing on positive things. And within that 7 minutes, my mood went from being down to being high. And that every single person can do that. And if they don't do that, they are choosing to stay in a lower state of energy. And that's going to have a huge impact on what we can achieve and how happy we are.